While Tarzan is officially the last film of the Disney Renaissance, to me, Tarzan was more the beginning of the post Renaissance era because it has a lot of the sort of elements you'll see in the post Renaissance, namely the fact that no one's singing in the movie, someone's singing outside the movie that we get to hear. To me, Mulan was sort of the last great breath of the Disney Renaissance. You can sort of see it there. There's a lot of interesting things that it was sort of building up to. I said in my Disney royalty review for Mulan that Mulan took the story of a Disney prince of the Renaissance era and moved it over to the Disney princess. And what I mean is that the Disney prince in the Disney Renaissance had an arc. Right? They're a different person they were at the end than they were at the start. Disney princess, not so much. As I said before, the Disney princess is often always framed as the one in the right, like they've got the right mentality. That's never really true for the Disney prince. With Mulan, it goes a bit different. Mulan is not viewed as inherently wrong, but she does have a lesson to learn. She does have a sense of growth and development that I think is easier to spot than in previous Disney princess films. But anyway, like I said, the Disney Renaissance, to me, it ends with Mulan. Mulan is the third part of my Renaissance triumvirate, along with Aladdin and Beauty and the Beast. I think they're just top notch. And Mulan is a beautifully done film. It is a beautifully. The music is beautiful. The artwork is great. Chinese brushwork is actually in there. Love it. It was a nice breath from regular princess stories. Even the sort of romance at the end, the sort of romance it was trying to of hinting at, takes a back seat to Mulan's story, to Mulan's character. The relationship with Shang is just one part of a bigger story, and there is something very profound about what Mulan's going through, the sense that she's trying to be one thing. She's trying to be what her family needs her to be and who she is, and she can't quite find that balance. She's not very good at what everyone else around her is good at. She's not good at societal expectations, and that is a very difficult thing for anyone to grapple with, especially for teenagers, which is just about anybody. Especially with the idea that she was hurting her family. Mulan's not being denied a part of herself. She's trying to balance that out, and that's something I think we spend a lot of our lives doing. So, with all that in mind, with everything about this movie and how much I love it, I admit I was a bit apprehensive coming into this remake, especially after watching Beauty and the Beast, which again was like an attack on my childhood, and Lion King was just lacking a soul. So I had to shelve as much of my expectations. I avoided so much about this movie when it came out because I didn't get a chance to see it in theaters. Let's remove the part of us that really loves the actual Mulan, the original animated one, and take this one with a grain of salt. Let's just go in and have next to no expectations. They're trying to be more culturally accurate, to tell something more in line with the myth. That is commendable in itself. It is. If you want to tell something more culturally accurate, more in line with the actual story, sure. I expect the same thing for Hercules. So everyone that loved Hera, I'm sorry. Everyone that loved Zeus, I'm sorry. Everyone that hated Hades, how can you hate any version of Hades? Well, there's probably some. DC's version of Hades is terrible. I'm sorry, he just is. But anyway. So we went in.
A few moments later.
So
That's it. Dishonor. Dishonor on your whole family. Make a note of this. Dishonor on you. Dishonor on your cow.
So yeah, I tried, I failed, we couldn't do it. And because, well, live action remakes love to remind you of what they're remaking. We saw this with Lion King. Lion King was blatantly obvious about it. It was actually the worst one of the group. But considering what you can do with a remake, this fell, and what they tried to do, it's not that level of bad. I said the Lion King remake is soulless. This one is lacking heart. So what are the two things for that? Well, when I say soulless for the Lion King, I mean I don't get any sort of response from any of these characters. Like, they say things are happening, but I don't believe they feel it's happening because, again, they try to make it look real as possible, and these quote-unquote real-looking animals are dealing with real human emotions, real human experiences that not say animals don't experience, but we as humans can really see that to an extent from the human experience. All right, yeah, it's needlessly complicated. Needlessly complicated. When I say lacking heart, I mean the sort of struggle and strife that was in the original Mulan is not really here. This is a character that does not fundamentally change. This is a character that isn't really challenged in the same interesting way that the other one was. As a matter of fact, I don't really get the same sense of struggle, let alone obstacles to overcome, in this one that was in the other one. Even sort of the same sort of feeling. Even the sort of failing at the with the matchmaker doesn't feel the same. Even it feels like this movie is trying to tell us, trying to go with an early Disney Renaissance story where said princess is right and the rest of the world has to learn. But the problem is, this story doesn't do that. Or at least doesn't do that well. So the premise of this movie. So the Rorans, I've probably butchered that group. Which is the more historically accurate version of the Huns. The Huns are not, we're not actually the ones invading China in this story. They're led by a witch, and the witch has what this movie calls chi, and chi's unique, even though that actually all living beings have chi. It's like life force. It's basically the force, if you want to like have a more modern equivalent to it. All right, everyone has some degree of the force because of the midichlorian thing. But anyway, her chi, strong chi, is usually associated with men, with warriors. She as a witch was ostracized, so now she's leading this whole thing. She created a whole society where she's like, worshipped and rules and whatnot. It's kind of really stupid because there's maybe like 5 people tops in this series with chi. So instead of trying to like unite them all to create like a nation of chi warriors, it's like, no, they hated me because I was a woman, so I'm gonna do this. Mulan also possesses this chi. Her father says, okay, so I get you have it. It's cool that you have it, but this is associated with men, with warriors, so you have to keep that quiet. You have to keep that part of you concealed. Okay, we get it. So like the frozen aspect here. Okay, that could still work. Reflections is a better version of Let It Go. Actually, again, as I said before, everything Frozen does, other Disney movies have done better. Anyway, so then the witch leads the invasion, blah blah blah, conscription, blah blah blah, and Mulan fails her matchmaking thing, and then her dad gets recruited into the army, or drafted into the army, or conscripted into the army, however you want to say it. And I still don't think that as someone who couldn't ride and could barely walk, he really wouldn't be on the front lines. Just saying, but whatever. So the heart of these scenes, so Mulan failing her matchmaker thing, I don't really feel anything from it. I don't get that she's invested in it. The amazing moment in the animated movie when she talks to her dad and about him going to war, and then her resolve to go into the war, like take his place, that's gone. She's like, well, I guess I'll go. I'm like, oh, okay, why? I mean, the movie does try to establish that her only real relationship is with her dad, even though she has a sister in this one, and one of the reasons she fails her matchmaking thing is because of her sister, trying to help her sister. Yeah, it's sort of weird, yeah. Then she arrives at the camp, and she actually does meet Yao, Ling, and Qianpo. But I had to look them up to figure out that was that, because these characters do not stand out. They don't. There's like 1 or 2 quirks, but there's no real personality to them, which is a bit sad in my mind. Because in the animated one, they were great. And again, the reason I have to is because they're reminding me of them. This could have gone totally off the map. Say like this Mulan comparison in name only, but they actually play Honor to Us All. They the instrumental, they do the instrumental for I'll Make a Man Out of You. It's all there. And I think even worse was the training. There was the training camp so the whole training camp, the boot camp thing, was really important to the actual movie, the actual story of Mulan, because the moment of heart comes throughout that entire I'll Make a Man Out of You song. The fact that she's struggling to do it, that she is finding it very hard to keep up, and then she applies discipline and strength. Ultimately, because they're all willing to put in the effort, all because they're going to keep trying, they're able to succeed. And the scene when she climbs up to retrieve the arrow is the heart. When you see the soldiers come out and they're rooting for, well, in this case, Ping, to retrieve the other, rooting for, like, come on, you got this, and then everything goes so much. it's a big meaning. It also means a lot to Mulan because, hey, I can do this, therefore I can do other things. It's a great accomplishment to people when you succeed at doing something, because then it opens the rest of the thing. Like when you like imagine you're taking a math test or like you're doing a math assignment, and it's all just comes appears totally impossible. Then it turns out you solve one. You solved one, you're like, okay, then I can take care of the rest because I've solved one. You get one answer right, you can get the other ones right. That's what that means. Doesn't mean you'll pass, trust me, but it's there. The potential's there. And of course, there's this scene here from the animated one.
Maybe I didn't go for my father. Maybe what I really wanted was to prove I could do things right. So when I looked in the mirror, I'd see someone worthwhile.
Nothing like this exists in the remake. So the idea that Mulan did this in part for her father, but also for herself, is an important part of the movie. Again, Mulan now likes what she sees in the mirror. She likes it. She feels like she's found that right blend of what's expected of her and who she is, which, again, is something we spend our entire lives trying to do. So, yes. Did Mushu need to be in this movie? No, he didn't. It would have been great if he was. But what needed were the ancestors? No, would have been nice, but no. Did we need music? Would we need singing? Did we need songs? I personally say yes, but that's a matter of personal taste. Did we need Shang? Maybe not necessarily Shang, but the character Chen, who is sort of like Mulan's friend slash possible love interest. He could have been more than just like, hey, I'm here to impart interesting bits of knowledge and vague emotional support, and then point out that, hey, she may have been Mulan, but she saved us as Ping, so I trust Ping, and Ping is Mulan, so therefore we trust Mulan, blah, blah, blah. I mean, there's no real arc for that, which I think there was a subtle one. Like, Shang had his own story, all right, that played very well into Mulan's in its own way. And then, of course, there's the concept of war. So this scene in the animated one, when they're saying a girl worth fighting for, and then they see the horrors of war, great scene, great scene. The fact that it just stops and there's nothing but silence for a while is a great scene. And then afterwards, when they're still marching, they still have what they saw totally on their minds. Great scene because of it. There's a slight scene where they're all talking about the war and how they're probably going to die. It's a good scene, and had more of that been in the movie, maybe I just wanted more interactions from other characters to really help shape it. I don't know, like the personalities here aren't strong enough to carry everything else, but I don't know. I feel like that was lacking. So where does this stand up in the pantheon of live action remakes? Is this a
Yes!
or more of a
You feed the madness and it feeds on you. You feed the madness and it feeds on you. You feed the madness and it feeds on you.
honestly, I think it is more of a
You feed the madness and it feeds on you.
because this feels poorly done. Like we threw on the moniker of try to go culturally accurate and didn't put any real thought into the story, which is a bit sad because Disney has tried to adapt mythology. Hua Mulan is, by all accounts, not an actual historical figure. Her story covers at least several dynasties, from what I've heard. So no, not really. So certain liberties are always allowed to an extent, and it's expected. Again, we're going to tell a more mythologically accurate version of Heracles. We saw a more culturally accurate myth with Moana, and we see more cultural accuracy with Encanto. Encanto, which is like pretty amazing, pretty fun. So, what's going on here? I don't know. Overall, though, this is a middle of the road, honestly, because there are some good things. This does feel like an attempt at a kung fu movie, with none of the real effort really put into it. This felt like, despite having 7 screenwriters, no one really tried. It's like, well, we know what Mulan looks like, so let's just add some culturally accurate stuff and go from there. And even then, some of the stuff they get culturally wrong anyway. So, who knows? Was this a mistake? Well, pretty much most live action remakes are mistakes. This is not the Peach Dragon version. It didn't put me to sleep, but it didn't keep my attention. So I think that's the biggest crime of all, because original Mulan is kind of brilliant. It's kind of brilliant. Like I said before, a Disney prince story for a Disney princess. I love it. I love that concept. It's great here. This movie does not do that. Again, it sort of has a Little Mermaid vibe to it, where Ariel is right. It doesn't matter. Ariel is right. The difference is there's none of Ariel's impetuousness for the character. So there's something missing there. You know what? We are rambling, and we should stop rambling. I'm an amble rambler. No one rambles better than me. Well, probably, but we don't talk about them. Anyway, with that, Miles brings video close here. If you're new to the Bucket Think Tank, feel free to like, comment, share, subscribe. Check out some other videos, and I'll catch you all later. This is the Bucket Think Tank signing off. Thanks for watching. As always, may your fandom serve you well.